Hola, SAP developers. So we're here today. Thank you very much for joining this live stream. Um, so at the moment, this is streaming to YouTube and also on LinkedIn. So bear with me. I'll do my best to try to keep an eye on the chats on both places. So yeah, I have them here on my right hand side. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on them. Hello DJ, hello Tim, and hello Victor as well. Hola Victor, who are joining via YouTube. And also hi to Daniel, who's joining us via LinkedIn. Okay, so lots of things are happening in the event driven space, I would say. Yeah, we have many products now available in this space. And the latest edition is basically the event mesh capability, which is now part of SAP Integration Suite. And that's exactly what we're going to be looking at today. Hello, Nitesh, as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining. So, there's a lot to cover today. So, I think that we should get started as soon as possible. So, yeah, so let me share my screen now. Nope, not this. Wait. Let's see. That's not the right screen that should be sharing. Uh, yeah, now, sorry about that. But yeah, cool. So you should be able to see my screen now. You should be able to see a blog post. In this case, this is a blog post that was published by Costin. So Costin is basically the lead PM for event-driven architectures and all the event-driven products in SAP. So you might have seen him around always talking about event mesh, advanced event mesh. The two main products that are part of this portfolio. And he recently published this. This was last Friday, where he was announcing basically the availability of the event mesh capability in SAP Integration Suite. So I highly recommend checking out this blog post. It does explain a bit of what to expect in the event mesh capability. So I'm going to share this with you guys. Thank you, DJ, for letting me know that you can see the blog post now. Let me just share this on LinkedIn as well. Um, cool. So there it is. I've sent the message both places. Yeah, please check this out. Now, one thing to take in consideration is that the event mesh capability hasn't been rolled out to all data centers yet. So it is going like in a sort of it's a roll-off phase right now. So it's only available at the moment in 3 different data centers, and you can find the details for that in this SAP note that's included in this link. So for example, here we can see that it tells us that also it's not just about the data centers that's available, but also some of the limitations that the new capability has. So in this case, for example, there are some messages protocols that are not yet available. So for example, the REST gateway and also MQTT is not available right now. But you can see that they will be available very soon. So yeah, keep an eye on that. So webhooks also is another thing that's not covered yet. But yeah, Q3. So it's it will be a few months, and then it will be available there as well. So yeah, keep an eye on that as well. But yeah, at the moment we only have it available in this data center in Sao Paulo. There's another data center here in your Frankfurt, for example, in GCP, and also in Azure. So in case you want to play around with them, then yeah, you can easily create a sub account and just assign, for example, something like the free tier, for example, of SAP Integration Suite, and you'll be able to take it for a spin. Okay, so yeah, keep that in mind. Get familiar with this SAP node, and also obviously get familiar with everything that's included in this blog post by Costin. Okay, it's important. So yeah, I think yeah, we should probably get started. Um, yeah, Let me see if we have some messages here on LinkedIn. Yeah, I don't see anything, so that's good. Great. So let's get cracking. So here I have my SAP Integration Suite, as you can see here, and I only have one capability enabled at the moment, and I'm just going to instantiate, basically enable a new capability. So you see that here in manage capabilities, I go to add capabilities, and then I have this new capability available to me, manage business events. So click next, and just, there's nothing to set up here yet. So yeah, just click activate. And what this is going to do is that it will basically enable obviously the capability for me, but also it will add two roles, right? So in that case, what I need to do now is that my user, I need to assign it those two roles basically. One is the event mesh admin role, and the other one will be the event mesh developer role. Hello, Rafal. Hello, Priyanshu. Thanks for joining the live stream. Um, yeah, and as you can see here, for example, I should have them now. Assign role collections. Yeah, I have them there. Event mesh admin, event mesh developer, assign role collection, and that's it. Now my user is able to basically activate that new capability. And as we all know, we need to log out, log in, so that my roles are refreshed in this session. So let's do just that. Okay, close this. Let's go again to my instances, open Integration Suite, and then yeah, it will show me the event mesh capability. Okay, so also something to notice that this is running in BR10, which is basically in one of the data centers that this has been enabled. And as you can see, I now have this event mesh tile here, right? Manage business events. So I can configure my events or I can monitor my events. If I go to monitor my events right now, I will get an error because I haven't enabled that capability, okay? So as you can see here, yeah, monitoring. Yeah, please activate event mesh. Of course, I haven't activated. And this is a very simple activation, honestly. So there's just this big button here that says activate. It does give me information about the specifications for event mesh. So you can see that I have a spool size of 2 gigabytes. This is the connections that I can that I allow, for example, 200 connections. There's a maximum megabyte message size, which is 1 megabyte. And also, there's a limit on the number of queues that it can have. So, and what I find very interesting is that now, okay, why is it that this is not scrolling? I don't know. Yeah, okay, let's just activate this. But one thing that that you'll notice in this screen now is that it also shows me a comparison, right, of what I have enabled. Oh, this has failed, seems like. Let's see if it actually, activation failed. All right, it's ready now. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was scary. But no, everything is working fine. So yeah, as you can see, I can define my keys here. But let's go back to the overview. In the overview, you can see, for example, a comparison, basically, right, between what's available in my event mesh and what it will be like, for example, if I would use advanced event mesh. So obviously, this brings the question of, okay, so what's the comparison between event mesh and advanced event mesh? And I guess the name says it itself. Advanced means that, for example, you have way more complex scenarios. But if you're just starting in your EDA sort of journey, event mesh is a great place to start, right? You'll be able to connect this to an S4HANA Cloud, for example. You'll be able to connect a CAP application and exchange messages. And this is something that has been evolving a lot, I would say, at least event mesh. We had, for example, at the beginning, I remember when DJ, for example, was doing a series on enterprise messaging. Then that was renamed to event mesh, and now the event mesh capability of in SAP Integration Suite, right? So it's something that has evolved significantly. But now it's like, it's part of the Integration Suite, so it's basically included within your license of Integration Suite. So if you have an Integration Suite license, then you basically get event mesh, right? And you no longer have to instantiate, for example, a separate service, which is great. But yeah, so this gives you an idea, for example, like if you hit the limits here, then this gives you an idea, for example, okay, like depending on on your needs, on your rollout, like for example, let's imagine, for example, an IoT scenario where you have 5,000 devices, for example. You need to, and those 5,000 devices will be constantly sending messages to your event middleware. In that case, something like event mesh might not be enough. So for example, in that case, you might start looking at advanced event mesh, for example. But yeah, this gives you some information on for what to look at in advanced event mesh. But you know what, this stream is about event mesh capability, so let's focus on that. Okay, so yeah, I've assigned my roles, and let's go ahead and create a queue. That's something very simple. Let me have a look at the chat. Good morning, Cycle Tour, Manchester, Pratik, Douglas, Abhilash as well. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining the live stream. Yeah, let's go ahead and create a queue. Okay, so I'm just going to create something simple here. Q1, I'll name it. And you can see I can define my access type, the message size, for example, that I want to allow. I'll just leave the defaults here, and I'll just go ahead and create. And similar to, for example, previous event mesh, then obviously I have my subscriptions here, and here I can just select, for example, I can create a topic subscription. In this case, what I'll do is that I'll define topic subscription for, no, I'll do it a bit later so that we can see it in a bit. But you know what? So obviously I have my event mesh now, and I want to basically start seeing how you can basically end up connecting this to other applications. So in this session, what I want to achieve is basically this. You should be able to see a diagram now. Okay. Good morning, Jonathan. Good morning, Vian. I have a question there. Event mesh is enabled, but role collections related to event mesh are not available. Do we need to create them manually? No, you don't need to create the roles manually. Like they automatically, once you enable the capability, they should be displayed in your BTP cockpit in the role collection. So I didn't have to create anything there. So okay, so this is what I want to achieve for today. Basically, you see here CAP eventing. This is basically a local app that I will be running, and this will be publishing messages to this topic, okay? Which will basically be available via this queue. And eventually what I'll do is that I'll deploy an integration flow which will end up consuming this queue, okay? Then we will do basically the same sort of scenario, but for S4HANA Cloud, okay? So we'll connect an S4HANA Cloud to the event mesh capability as well. So, I actually have this topic here, so I'll just copy this because I can create a subscription here. So let's go ahead, create a subscription. You can see that it's complaining because it has a space. Obviously, I added a space there. But basically, this is where I'm going to be posting the topics, okay? The messages, okay, to this topic. I'll just go ahead and create this. So CAP. Okay, so we're going to get a CAP application sending events to the event mesh capability in SAP Integration Suite. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to leverage this project, which was created by a colleague of mine. His name is Willem Pardens. I hope I pronounce his last name correctly. But yeah, so he created this nice little repo where he shows, for example, connecting to event mesh and advanced event mesh. So yeah, I'm just using this. I basically end up forking this, and you can see my fork here. Let me share this with you guys as well so that you have it as reference. As you can see, I added EMIS there because there are some subtle differences on how I'm connecting to event mesh in Integration Suite. So yeah, just sharing that on LinkedIn and YouTube. Sebastian asks, where do you find the endpoints for the queues? So give me a second. I'll show you. I'll show you basically how we end up connecting to it in a bit. Okay. So yeah. So I'm using this project. So I'll just go to Visual Studio Code, And you'll see that, for example, here, preview, these are some basic instructions on how to connect to the event mesh capability in SAP Integration Suite, right? In the end, I included a link to how do you initiate your event mesh instance, basically. And then here, there are some minor differences to how you end up connecting previously and how I'm connecting here. So, and I'm just going to highlight the differences. So in the package.json, for example, I end up specifying this as the kind I specified as enterprise messaging shared. And if you go to the CAP documentation, for example, you notice that when you specify this, you basically end up connecting via AMQP, and that's what I'm leveraging, right? And apart from that, I'll also specify a publish prefix. That's necessary, because if not, then this prefix will just be like unknown or something like that. So I end up specifying that. The format, obviously, cloud events. Everything within the SAP sort of world is whenever we're talking about events, we end up publishing events or messages that are compliant with the cloud event specification. So yeah, it's something important, and you see it in a bit. And you know what? Something that I forgot is that I was going to create another live stream for a couple of weeks time, where I'm going to focus basically on cloud events, and we're going to talk about just purely cloud events and what the cloud events specification is. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I will share the details. Yeah, later today maybe. But yeah, cloud events. So we end up publishing a message which is compliant with the cloud event specification to event mesh. Okay. So and apart from that, I am specifying here a default env, and the default env is basically because it will just pick up the credentials from a local environment. Okay. So, but here we have some credentials. Now, you might wonder, like, well, what are those credentials? I haven't created any credentials, right? So let's go ahead and create some credentials first. And for that, I will go to my BTP cockpit, and here I'm just going to create an instance of the event mesh messaging client. Okay, so in this case, you can see event mesh message client there. The runtime is other, and I'm just going to name it, client cap producer, whatever. You know that. Yeah, I'm just going to create that. And what I need to do now is that once this is created, then I'm going to create a binding, and that binding that I will create will basically give me those credentials that I can paste in that CAP project. Okay, so let's go ahead and create this. Yeah, it's taking a bit, but let's be a bit patient. Okay, so creation, come on. Come on, I need you to finish creating this. And yeah, I'm just going to create, yeah, okay, cool, ready, create a binding, create this, and you'll see here that it will basically give me those credentials that I need. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this JSON, and in the end, I'm just going to paste it in my project here. So in credentials, I'm going to replace this. You'll see. Let's see the whole structure. This structure will be replaced by this, basically. That's it. You know, no more changes. And to your question regarding the endpoint is here. So what this will end up leveraging is that the communication will be using AMQP, and it will be AMQP over WebSocket. Okay. So you can see that there are some OAuth 2 credentials here. It will use this to basically generate a token, and that token is what we'll end up using to authenticate against this that you see here. This is my endpoint, okay? And obviously, I just end up publishing to a particular topic, okay? And that topic, we will see it in a bit. So now that I've saved this, okay, in the case, I'm ready here. I already did an npm install, so all my node modules are ready, and all I need to do, if I follow the instructions in the README, for example, is that I need to run the CDS watch blah. So if I go here, then this will start my CAP project, and it will show me a nice UI. This is something that Willem built. So let's go to the UI here. And as you can see, I have this Fiori app, which is a very simple app. And whenever I change a value, it will trigger an event, basically. Okay, so yeah, come on, it is loading. Let's see, do we have any questions? No questions. So Sebastian, I hope that answers your question regarding the endpoints. But yeah, let's just here, for example, under the hood, whenever there's a change in the owner, then it will trigger an event. Okay, so let's just name this Sebastian. Why not? Change owner. Cool. So that, you see, event sent, it says. So if we go back here, as you can see, it tells me that it has posted a message to this topic itself. SAP DevApps, CAP, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so if I configure my topic subscription correctly, then that means that I will have, let's close this, I don't need this anymore. I would have a message in my queue. Let's see. Queues, correct, I have a message here, okay? And you know, something that is very cool here is that, for example, we have the monitoring of event mesh. And you can see here, for example, the number of connections that I have, the number of queues that I have. So for example, in this case, I have one queue, I have another connection active, you know. Also, like this ends up refreshing every 5 minutes. So at the moment, we will not see any messages here, but eventually we will see them, okay? So yeah, let's just publish a few messages so that we can see a couple of things happening here. So let's change another one. It's Anna. And here, Benedict. I don't know, just coming up with names here. Okay, so VN, during activation of event mesh capability in IS, we have below error. Yeah, okay, I've seen that error before, and basically you just need to raise a support ticket. Yeah, so you need to make sure that, well, if you see the capability, if you're able to click on it, like enable it, then obviously like you're running in one of the data centers that it's available. And if you get that error, yeah, please go ahead and raise a support ticket. They will be able to, the support team will be able to help you. Okay, so you can see we published 3 messages, but we've not seen the message itself, right? So if we go back to queues, we can see here that, yeah, 3 messages queued. So let's just see, for example, in my, let's create an integration flow. Well, I already created an integration flow, and this integration flow will just end up connecting to that particular queue that we created, and then yeah, we just end up consuming the messages. So let's see this. It's very simple. So the connection, basically, there's a URL, there's a protocol there, 443. I have some credentials which I haven't created yet, and I will create, and we will create the security material in Integration Suite. But in the end, this will just end up writing it to a particular data store, EMIS consumer. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and let's duplicate this, duplicate tab. And let's go ahead and just create those credentials first. So here I need to go ahead and create all the credentials. I'm actually going to create a number, two credentials that we will end up needing. So here, client integration, consumer. Okay. Given that it took a bit of time before, I'm just going to get ahead of myself and create something else as well. Event mesh capability, and in this case EM-S4C4L, for example. I'm just going to create the credentials right now for that we're going to use to connect from S4HANA as well, so that we don't end up wasting time later. So here, come on. Yeah, let's just create the binding. EMCI consumer binding. Create And I'm just going to create this binding as well. EM binding. Cool. We will use these credentials later. So let's focus on this. Say consumer, this binding is what I need basically. So these are two credentials. It's what's important now. So let's go ahead and just go to my security material. So I'll create a security material. This will be fast. Oh, I already have it here. Okay. I'm just going to replace the details. I forgot to delete this when I was preparing this yesterday. Okay, so client details, it will be this, client ID, right? Yep. Then my client secret is just this. Copy that. And then my URL, token URL is this. Cool. And that's basically it. That's all I need to specify here. As you can see, I don't specify anything else. I'll deploy this. Those credentials are refreshed. And now, yeah, I have my integration flow here ready. So I'm just going to configure this. Make sure that I'm using the right URL. So in that case, the host, for example, is the details that I have here, right? So event-driven integration, blah, blah. This is my host to them. Nope, not that, sorry. And here. So the queue, that's what I defined before, and EMIS consumer is what we saw before. So that should be good. Let's hit deploy. And that should be ready. Let's see. Maybe I'm not allowed to send links here. Okay, yeah. Let me share that link to that node. It's this node here that I have here on screen. So so there you have it there. Thank you, Simon, for mentioning the node number. Via there's the node that Simon is referring to. I just shared the link. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm going to share this node also via LinkedIn so that you can have it as well. Okay. Let's keep going. So I've deployed my integration flow. Yep, trigger for deployment. Let's see what the status for that is. Oh, awesome. It's been deployed already. So you can see that we have 3 messages here. Okay. So obviously we created 3 messages in CAP, and we have all 3 messages now here. Let's just do it again. Let's do another message. Let's see. Change owner. Let's change this to Antonio. Let's see. Change owner. So in theory, that should have posted a message. Excellent. And now if I go back to my integration suite, refresh this, there you go. Immediately, right? And that's the beauty of event-driven integrations, right? Real-time integrations. Like when something happens, an event is triggered, and then that basically, yeah, we can react to it. We can consume that message, right? So my CAP application, this is what we're doing so far. My CAP application here is communicating via MQP. It's posting a message, or publishing a message to this topic that we've defined here. And my queue is just subscribe to that topic, correct? Then from Cloud Integration, there is one integration flow which is consuming the messages in that queue, okay? Cool. So I hope that's clear. And you've seen now how easy it was to basically get CAP sending events to the event mesh capability, and also Cloud Integration consuming those messages from the event mesh capability, right? Fantastic. So now that we've done that, I think we can focus on this second bit, on how to configure S/4HANA Cloud to publish messages, yeah, this would just be to another queue. In this case, queue E4L. So let's go ahead and create a queue first, so that we have it there. Configure, obviously event mesh. Is it possible to, so Sebastian, to your question, is it possible to manage access rights or permissions on specific queues for different roles? Not at the moment. But if you remember in the note, it does mention to us ACL profiles. So they're not supported yet, but it's coming Q3 2024. So yeah, stay tuned. It will be there very soon. Um, yeah, sorry. Let's go ahead and create our queue. And this queue will just be receiving everything from my S4HANA instance. Cool. Okay, so then what do I need to do now? I created a service binding for my S4 and I need those credentials, right? So let's go ahead and copy those credentials because I'm going to need them very soon. Yeah, I have the binding here. I'm going to copy that JSON. So that's good, I have that. And now basically I just need to go straight to my S4HANA. So here I'm in S4HANA, okay, as you can see here. So I need to go to my communication arrangements. And then in communication arrangements, I basically create, I set up the scenario that I need for it to communicate with the event mesh capability in Integration Suite. So in that case, I need to select the enterprise eventing integration scenario. I'm just going to name this EMIS, right? I need to specify a communication user as well. I've created like, I'm just going to reuse a communication user that I created before. There's no science to it. Like, it's just, this is for inbound communication. So in this case, it's like you just select new and then you propose a password, you set a name, and so yeah. Let's not waste time on that. But yeah, I have one created in this tenant, so I'm just using that. As you can see, I copy my service key. Okay, this is the service key that I copied just now from BTP Cockpit, and let's go ahead and click create. We will get an error message, but I want you to see this error message. So this is on purpose. Okay, so you can see that it tells me topic space is neither provided in service key nor in additional properties. Okay, so remember from before how when you configure, for example, the standalone event mesh, so the service that you instantiated from the BTP cockpit before, you had to specify a namespace. Okay, so I'm just going to specify a namespace here, and in this case, I'm just going to name it SAP S4HC E4L. Okay. And that's it. So basically this namespace will end up being set as my topic space, and you'll see this namespace coming. It's basically what S4HANA Cloud will end up using to publish that message to a particular topic in Event Mesh. Okay, so yeah, so you'll see that in a bit. I'll show it to you. So let's click create here, and we'll start doing its magic. And you'll see here that, let's see, EMIS. I have my communication arrangement. And this is the topic space, you see? That's what we've defined for that. Yeah, cool. It's using the service key details. It will use the service key details in order to be able to communicate to my event mesh in SAP Integration Suite. So I don't need to do anything else. In case that changes, you can always update the service key by using this functionality here. But this is pretty much it. It's ready. It can send messages now. So in order to test that, we'll do the following. We'll go to event enablement. And in event enablement, there's the event monitor and the configure channel binding, right? So let's first configure the channel binding. And you see that this is my channel. EMIS is 092, okay? This is what I just created. Outbound topics, okay? I can specify the topics, basically which events I want to send across to event mesh, okay? There is a test event, and I'm going to add the test event because, yeah, we can test the communication there. Okay, so apart from my test event, I'll also go ahead and add another event for business user. We normally use business partners, but yeah, lately I've been playing with the business user. So yeah, let's just, whenever a business user is created or deleted, then it will send a message, okay? So yeah, I've basically configured well, actually a number of events, because business user, as I mentioned before, you have the create and the delete, and both of those instances will send an event. And this is the test event. Okay, so excellent. So basically we've set up here what we want in order to send events there. But now let's trigger an event. So in event monitor, we're able to do that. Let's see, anyone use event mesh with SuccessFactors intelligence service? Seems there are a lot of limitations with success. Well, in SuccessFactors, so for example, SuccessFactors, you'll be able to obviously publish events straight from SuccessFactors. You can configure them in SuccessFactors. And you can connect it to, like, you're able to specify an HTTP endpoint where you can publish those messages. At the moment, it's not possible here in the in event mesh capability. But yeah, eventually when the REST gateway is available, then you'll be able to publish them there. I see there's no event mesh adapter in CPI. No, there is an advanced event mesh and Kafka adapters, yes, which can be used for connecting to topics as well. Yes, but in that case, for example, the advanced event mesh, you will be connected to advanced event mesh. In the case of event mesh adapter here, Jonathan, to your question, I'm basically connecting using just AMQP, pure AMQP. Okay, so when I set up my sender, yeah, yeah, we need to go all the way to the integration flow. And in this case, you can see AMQP here. It's just that adapter. Yeah, standard AMQP. So you can connect to any messaging broker, for example. Exactly, it's not needed. You don't need an event mesh adapter. Just AMQP will do. Can you tell, there's a question by Sebastian saying, can you tell if the messages are linked to the message entitlement in Integration Suite? So in other words, the message costs anything if they are connected to a non-SAP system. There was a question related to messaging, and it's in one of the comments here. Someone asks that how it is priced, what will be the cost, and basically 100 events equals one Integration Suite message. Now, can that go to a non-SAP system? I would say it will still count towards those 100 events. Yeah, you can have a third-party system connecting to event mesh for sure. Like you can just publish messages, and a third-party system can connect to event mesh to consume messages as well. So shouldn't be a problem. Okay, let's get back. Sorry, I lost my, what was I doing? Yes, so EMIS here, and here, for example, I'll produce a test event, okay? If I produce a test event, you can see here, it tells me, okay, I'm publishing that, and let's hit refresh. It's acknowledged. That's good. That basically means that this was sent to event mesh, okay? Now, but I think that I didn't configure the queue. Let's see. So I have my queue. Refresh this. Yeah, I haven't configured any topics here. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a subscription. In this case, let's go to my channel. I need to copy this. Here, topic, there, create. Yeah, excellent. So now if I go back to my queues and let's trigger another test message. In flight, refresh, to acknowledge, fantastic. Let's go back here and refresh this. There we go. We have our message in event mesh. Fantastic, right? So we were able to receive that that event. Okay, so now I also did business user, right? So let's go ahead. But first, I'm going to, okay, let's find out how I can do this. So in hub.sap.com, it will give me the details for all my events, right? So let's go ahead and find my event. In this case, packages. We're dealing with S4HANA Cloud, so let's go to S4HANA Cloud, public events here, and then I can just filter by business users, for example. And here it tells me in the event reference, you can see here, for example, this is where it's going to be published. Okay, I will get an event whenever something is created and whenever something is deleted. Okay, so if I want to subscribe to this particular event, then I basically need to do this. So let's go ahead and copy this. Sorry, here. I'm going to, in my queue, have another topic subscription. But obviously I need to prepend this SAP S4HC. Okay, so I'm just going to type it S4HC E4L CE blah blah blah. Yeah, and I want to receive created and deleted. Okay, so let's go ahead and just use an asterisk, which is a wildcard, and basically will return me. Yeah, it will subscribe to both events. So no, sorry. So the queue will end up processing both events. It will end up storing those events, right? Okay, so business user, whenever it's created, whenever it's deleted. So let's go now to S4. I'm just going to leave this here. So you see that we have one message queue there. And let's go ahead and just go to business users. Maintain business users. I'm going to create one here, for example, new. I'm going to select Antonio Ferrari. And then, yeah, I need to set a username here. Click the save button here. Cool. And there you go. So that should have triggered an event. Okay. And then, for example, let's go Ferrari. Yeah, there's my business user created. So if I go back to event mesh, refresh that, you see I have a message there. Fantastic. And if I go and delete him, then delete my business user. Okay. That should trigger another event. Okay. Let's go ahead, refresh this. Boom, perfect. I have 3 messages there. So now, yeah, let's just see those messages being consumed again, right? I've obviously prepared another integration flow with the same idea. And in this case, I'm just going to connect to a different queue, okay? So Shantanu has a question saying, can we increase the parameters with regards to message size? For instance, by default, it is 1 megabyte. Yeah, 1 megabyte is the maximum in that in the event mesh capability. If you want more than that, then I guess I guess you can see, for example, here you can compare it to what's available in advanced event mesh, where, for example, you have the message size can be much larger. So, for example, even if you have a broker with the smallest broker, it allows you a message size of 10 megabytes, right? And I think the 10 megabytes is the maximum in this case. Oh, no, 30 megabytes if you, for example, have a broker 5K. But yeah, in the event mesh capability, it's only 1 megabyte. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Yeah. So yeah, you cannot send across, for example, a JPEG, within your message. Yeah. So, or a video or something like that. So it will be a smaller size message. But yeah, so let's go back to Integration Suite. And yeah, I'm just going to configure this integration flow. QE4L. I think is this my URL? BR. I don't remember if this is my URL. Oh wait, I might have it somewhere here. There it is. Yep. Okay. It might be. I don't know. So yeah, let's just deploy this. Boom. Click yes. And then yeah. So once this is deployed, it should start consuming messages, right? You see, we have 7 messages now here, which, yeah, there they are. You see, so for example, I have, the test event, for example. I would imagine that this is the test event. And this will be, for example, the business user created business. But let's have a look. Oh, well, we are able to see the payloads, right? Because it is basically storing it in the data store. So if we go to the data store, here I have 2 data stores because In the end, I have it created at integration flow level. Yeah, I left the one that I was testing yesterday. I left them here. I forgot to delete them. Sorry about that. But yeah, in the end, you can see that these are the 4 messages that I just created now. So that's for the first consumer, and in this case for the E4L. So let's just see the test message. Oh wait, I'm just going to open this with Visual Studio Code. Sorry, I have it on my other screen, so bear with me a second. Yeah, okay, this code. And this is basically my message, right? Language, reason, format, that. This is what it's sending. That test event is basically this. Cool, right? That's pretty cool. And so, as you can see, this is a cloud event, right? It follows the cloud event specification, where I have my header section and I have my payload, which is just this message, test event created. Let's check out another message. So, for example, when I deleted that, which is that last event, imagine. So let's just open that, and yeah. Oh man, again. Yeah, so let's just do this Visual Studio Code again. And this is my business user deleted, right? So format document, we can see it here. Yeah, it contains some more data, right? Business partner UID, user ID, SAP user ID. And the contents of this message is basically what we're able to find in hub.sap.com. So when I was showing you here, created, you can see the payload here. You can see the headers that you should expect. And this is my payload, business partner ID, Yeah, that's for the creation, and the deletion is the same. You see the payload here. You see the headers here. And this is good because you're able to see, for example, what the type is, right? This type, we can see it here in my payload, in my header. So at least, although the payload itself doesn't contain real data here, it will give you an idea of, for example, what the payload will look like, right? So this can help you get started and get familiar with the structure. But in essence, all events that you'll be able to see in the SAP Business Accelerator Hub, they're all compliant with the Cloud Events specification. So yeah, keep that in mind. Let's see. Is it possible to check the payload of incoming messages without tracing in CPI? Well, you can use, so the question from Jonathan, you can use the data store to have a look at that. How would that work in a productive environment? Would this information be protected? Well, no, in that case, you will always be able to see the entire information. But like, for example, in the data store, at least, I know that there is a particular role for that will not allow you to download messages, for example, that you store in the data store. So that's something that you can sort of prevent, or for users not to extract. That being said, at least the events from S4, the standard events, don't really contain any sensitive information. They all contain just IDs. An ID, well, at least personally, if I get something like this, that for me is meaningless. I don't know what the name for that user is. I don't know his username at all. So yeah, it's just purely IDs that you will get. So you will see the events, obviously, but yeah, it would just be purely IDs. So for example, business partner, whenever you get a create event, it just contains the business partner ID. It doesn't contain name, for example. So it's just, in essence, a notification event. The question from there, can I monitor individual events? Monitor events. So the only place that you can, at least the events from S4, we were looking at it before, sorry, event monitor. You'll be able to see all the events that are coming through a particular channel here. So for example, in EMIS 0092, we'll be able to see all the events that have been triggered in this system. So for example, the created, there you go. You see that it's been sent. You see exactly at what time it was sent. And you can even see the payload here in S4. So at least that's something that you can look at. Yeah. So here you will be able to see all the messages. Um, okay, how to clear the message queue in the client which is stuck due to some error. Can the specific error message be deleted from the queue? Yeah, Natesh. So at the moment, at least, you're not able to delete, like for example, in Event Mesh, you were able to clear the queue. That's not possible at the moment. At least in Event Mesh, sorry, in this case, we're processing with Cloud Integration. So if you're not able to process the entire message, like you will need to handle it within Cloud Integration so that you can remove that message basically from there. Obviously, that will raise an exception, and in the end, if you follow the best practices in your integration flows, then you're handling that failure message gracefully, right? So yeah, that would be a mechanism to basically handle that error message. Any provision to recorrect the message in event mesh and process? No, no. So it's not possible to go to event mesh and select a particular message and modify the message state directly. That's not possible. Yeah, there would just be messages that would be in your queue. So you would need to basically, the consumer is responsible to get them out of there. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've answered the questions there. So let's see. I don't know if I have a question on LinkedIn. Sorry, I haven't kept up with it. Yeah, no, I don't have any questions there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we've covered basically the scenarios that I was looking to cover. So yeah, we send messages from a CAP application that was stored in a particular queue, and that queue was consumed from Cloud Integration, and the same messages from S4HANA Cloud to yeah, sending messages, and then they're being consumed by Cloud Integration. I guess, in the end, this is a new capability, something brand new. At the moment, it only supports, for example, connections via AMQP. So that's something to keep in mind. But it will be changing very fast, I would say. At least regarding messaging protocols, Q3 2024, we should expect a REST gateway, which will basically allow us to do an HTTP post and publish an event via HTTP, which is obviously something that we need. Also, MQTT for IoT devices which use MQTT. Obviously, that makes sense there, right? So you would want that to be available. At the moment, it's not. But then, even if you have IoT scenarios, if we are talking about many devices, let's say more than 200 devices, then you should probably be looking at advanced event mesh for those scenarios. Event mesh, yeah, it might not be the right capability, the right tool to do it, just because of pure volume. The pure number of connections, you will reach the maximum number very fast with what's possible with event mesh. So keep that in mind. Um, yeah, what else do I want to share here? I think that's pretty much it. Let me see if there are any additional questions that I haven't answered. Advanced process. So there's a question here regarding Shantanu asking, are the events processed in a sequence? For instance, when a consumer service is down and later on yeah. So this will be at least at the moment, yeah, once in order. So as they were published, they will be consumed, unless you obviously have multiple consumers, right? Because that is possible. Like in the end, we end up specifying when we created our queue. Where's my queues? Here, queues. When I create my queue, my access type is non-exclusive in this case, but I only have one consumer, so that's why they're being consumed that way. But you can specify exclusive, for example, and then you will only have one consumer, right? But if it's non-exclusive, that means that you can have, let's say, 10 different consumers of a particular queue, and then messages will be possible to process them in parallel. So let's imagine a scenario where you're publishing let's say 100 messages per minute in a particular queue, and you need to process all those messages. That is very likely that you will need more than one consumer to process those messages, right? So in that case, yeah, your queue will need to be of access type non-exclusive, and the order, like I think somewhere in the documentation it mentions that it's round robin, something like that. I don't remember where exactly I've read that, but yeah, in the end it will be yeah. But that's the case where you have multiple consumers. Yeah. Any best practice document based on which we can suggest event mesh or advanced event mesh. So I've mentioned a couple of scenarios right now on when event mesh or advanced event mesh will make sense. If you're starting in your EDA journey, then event mesh is the easiest to get started with. Now, obviously, once you start adopting an EDA strategy, then you will likely exceed that very fast. So in that case, you will end up upgrading to something like Advanced Event Mesh. But that being said, I know that internally there's an EDA sort of strategy document that's being worked on that will be public facing, and that document will be hopefully published soon so that we can easily make this decision on when to use event mesh and when to use advanced event mesh. But I think that in the end, depends on your maturity on event-driven architectures, or exactly how you want to adopt it. But yeah, event mesh, you can start with that, and then you can eventually migrate or upgrade to advanced event mesh. That would be something. Is it possible to integrate event mesh with Asapio? Your question, Jonathan. At the moment, I don't know. That's the honest answer. I know that, for example, in the past it was possible. So in the end, it uses the AMQP protocol, so it might be possible, but I haven't tested that, so I don't know for sure. How about using AMQP as receiver adapter? A question by Jacob. Yeah, you can use the AMQP adapter to basically post messages. I just didn't include an example right now, but yeah, that'll be possible. Like in the end, we're using the AMQP adapter um, to consume messages, and we can use the same adapter to produce messages. Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem. Is there a letter queue for SAP Event Mesh? So in traditional SAP Event Mesh, there was one. In this one, I've not seen one yet. So in that case, yeah, your consumer will need to sort of process that. But yeah, I haven't seen one yet. To your question, other tester, are we able to consume events from EMIS in RAM? So, to your question, Pamo Liak, consume events from EMIS in RAP, I imagine, and in CAP, yeah, RAP. So, haven't tested. That's the honest answer. But yeah, in the end, we've seen how S4HANA basically is able to communicate with event mesh. So the same channel can be used to basically consume messages. So yeah, but I haven't tested. So, but I would assume that it would be possible. Now from CAP, you will need to create AMQP, like at least using the normal like enterprise messaging capability. Like I tried it and I wasn't successful. But then I didn't try just using a pure AMQP library to connect. So I would assume that using a pure AMQP library would do it. So yeah, at least that's what I would try. Yeah, that's something that, for example, I still need to explore. But once I get it going, then I would just end up committing that to this fork, which I plan to eventually merge to the cap event that Willem created. So yeah. Mm. Let's see. I have an application built in Node.js. Now I want to integrate it with SAP BTP and S/4HANA. So what would be the best integration middleware? Prijanshu. Yeah, I guess it depends on your specific needs. Prijanshu, regarding your question on on how to integrate with SAP BTP and an S4HANA system. But like in the end, I just show you, for example, how you can end up publishing, for example, events from S4HANA Cloud to Event Mesh. Then, for example, you obviously can have an OJS application using an AMQP library, for example, to connect to Event Mesh and consume those messages. So that would be possible. Okay. Well, I think we run over time, 1 minute now. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope you find this useful and that you enjoyed this live stream. So do expect more live streams revolving around event-driven integrations in the very near future. So yeah, stay tuned and I'll be publishing when the next live stream will be. So thank you very much for joining. Ciao.